My job role, very basically, is I organise events all over the UK for cooperative energy to attend, and we're also, I'm in the process of currently organising our second annual conference at the MEC Arena, so in Birmingham. So you've got the big six, which are E.ON, Scottish Power, Southern Electric, Empower, British Gas and Southern Electric, there's one more, isn't it? EDF Energy. And they're the big six in the market, and until the last 5 years they were pretty much allowed to operate how they wanted to operate, pretty much as a business. They're ruthless businesses, they're there to make mass profit, and on a business point of view you can't knock them for what they've done. They've made lots of money, they've done it well. But now we've entered the market, and I'm not saying we're the reason for the sole change, but customers and the general public out there don't trust our energy suppliers. So therefore we saw a niche in the market to actually go out there and make a difference, and as Sue's already touched upon, with the core values and what we stand by as a cooperative, we felt like we could be that change in the market. Okay. So the success story so far. So in July 2010, Sue's already explained to you about the Mid-Counties Board, has she? Yeah. So
a little bit.
Okay. So the Mid-Counties Board got together, Mid-Counties Property Board, they got together, and Ben Reid had this idea that he wanted to create an energy business. So next how it started, by December 2010 we had the first customer on supply. A little bit before this though, we had a very small box size room for about 4 people, in which our group general manager Ramsey Dunning was one of those 4 people, and they created in that small box room cooperative energy. Now as I go on you'll understand how far we've come in 3 years and why we're the fastest expanding ever energy supplier in the market. So we took our first customer supply in December 2010. We went around to our Mid-Counties cooperative stores, and this is how it went. We went into our stores with iPads, telling our customers in our stores that cooperative energy was here. We were looking at changing the market with this new energy supplier, and we had a certain target to hit. And if we weren't going to hit that target, we probably wouldn't have carried it on. So we hit that target, and we launched publicly in May 2011. Now, 10,000, as you can see there, 10,000 customers on supply in 100 days. That's how much we took on, which was quite substantial. Just to put it into context, I joined the business in May 2012, so I joined a year on. So they had about 10,000 customers on at this point. Literally, within a week of me being with the company, they'd doubled in size over a week, and they've gone up from 10,000 to 20, I think it's 25,000 customers it was. We then won a big switch auction in May 2012, and then we doubled in size again and went up to 50,000 customers. So, so my first year in cooperative energy was unbelievably fast-paced, and I mean, we'll just go on to the next slide quickly because it carries on from that previous slide. That same Christmas we then took another 60,000 customers on over the Christmas period, so over a 3-month period took another 60,000 on. Until this present day now, we're supplying over 200,000 domestic households. Now we've only been going, as you can imagine, from 2012 to 2000 to now, just over 3 years. So that is a feat in its own, you know, to have over 200,000 domestic supplies in the UK. Remember that little box room I told you about? We now have Haverton Road, we have an office upstairs which is our telesales team. We have Lockswitch Road, where it's our we have one of our contact centres, our collections department, data flow departments, and then Athena Drive, that's the head office where I'm based. That's where everyone's based, the group general managers, and we're now up to over 270 colleagues from our original 3 years ago.
Wow.
So,
that's amazing. how does that work? Do you need to buy from some other supplier or what?
Yeah, what I'll do, I've got a few slides out later on. So because of I'll explain it to you as you go along, and I'll talk exactly the steps we have to go by, and then where it goes from there, and then how it gets into the home. It will be really clear. Yeah, I'll make it, because it's very complicated, but it doesn't need to be. Yeah. So I'll make it extremely simple, because I think that's the big thing, that general public in any country and customers, who have gas and electric, they get confused, that they think that gas and electricity is complicated. It really isn't. It's because the energy companies up until now have made it confusing and complicated, and it doesn't need to be. And you'll see how straightforward it is when I explain it to you how it works, because it isn't. Okay, so these are just some of the things that make us different. Okay, we pledge for our carbon content for electricity to be below the national average. So basically, how we source it and where we source it from. So we commit to buying a certain amount of renewable energy rather than, let's say, nuclear energy. I'm not saying we don't get nuclear energy, we just try and have an even balance and make sure that our carbon footprint is below the national average. We co-hosted the Fair Energy Summit. And we also host the UK's largest gathering of the community energy experts. So when I spoke to you earlier about the event we've got at the NEC Arena, which I'm organising at the moment, which is next month, this is what we're going to be doing. This is, once again, we're hoping for it to be even bigger than what it was last year. So we'll see how it goes. And those two type of events, they're all about sourcing energy responsibly. Community energy, supporting projects within the community. So if someone wants to go and build, so a community wants to go and build a wind turbine, so they can generate that power, and they can then, be the shareholders and sell it back to the energy supplier, then they can do so. And this is what we're supporting, and what we're trying to say, this is the way forward, this is how everybody has to operate going forward, because otherwise the energy suppliers could get some of the energy suppliers potentially could get very greedy if they're not careful. So it's time for us to stand up as a nation, and throughout really. Then you go to Germany. In Germany, they're so far ahead in their technology. In the wind turbines, solar panels, they're so far ahead than what we are. And this is why we're always playing catch up to them. And it's we should be taking a leave sometimes. About how they're moving with their technology. We supported the UK launch of solar schools. Very briefly, we signed a deal where we would go into local schools, give them energy saving advice, and if their parents or the parents of the children are switched over to co-op energy, we would donate £50 to that school to go into a pot of money. So when they reach £10,000 in this pot of money, they can have a solar panel scheme on their roof. So, which would be, and then therefore they can generate their own electricity. So saving the school money. There's not a lot of money in schools in the UK. It's very, it's one of the areas where there's a lot of debates whether the government are putting enough money into schools and colleges and universities. And this is one way we thought would help. It would help, different schools and, be able to create their own electricity, save some money that way. So therefore, they can earn fund towards school trips, better education for some of the children, maybe further education, or for the ones that need it more than others. So, we also launched the Green Energy Pioneers as an education project. Basically, we went into schools and we would, say we went into a deprived school, a deprived area where maybe necessarily they wouldn't get the funding of what a private school would get, or some of the public schools in the UK. And what we did, we would go in there with the children that struggled the most. Maybe weren't so academically, they struggled academically. They're better with their hands than what they are with their, with their brains. So maybe they would be better wise as like a mechanic, maybe, so more hands-on job. And what we did with those individuals, we took them to an out-of-bounds course. So we got them outside doing things like kayaking, orienteering, so getting to use their minds in a different way rather than just academic based. We would get them thinking about how they can actually use their skill sets in different ways. So they did canoeing as well and all sorts, so things like camping and think little bits like that where they have to use their initiative and they use their common sense and really bring those skill sets and abilities out of them. And we were part of that. So, the strategy. So, we're a member-owned supplier. So our members own, as like Sue said about travel, our members own cooperative energy. So every £1 they spend with us, they get a point. And they can use these points every 6 months against their energy bill, or they can have them as food vouchers to use in our Midtown store, or they can use it towards their travel holiday. So we're all working together as a society, so all the different parts of the businesses that Sue was talking about earlier, like travel, food, funeral, childcare, post office, we all work together and we all have that cross reference of using the point system. The partnerships and the community energy movement, so something we're doing really good with the community energy at the moment, we do this thing called user chooser, and what this is a relatively new scheme. And we sold it as the message that you choose where we buy our energy, where you buy your energy from. Because it's your company, you can choose where you buy your energy from. So it doesn't mean that you buy it from the hydro station and it comes straight through to your house. It's basically, you can tell us, you can have an energy mix. So you have 100% mix and you can choose if 20% of that comes from solar, if 40% of that comes from hydro, and if 10% comes from anaerobic digestion and so on. And basically then you can even choose where we actually buy it from. So we have these things called PPAs, which are power purchase agreements, which is what we set up to buy renewable energy. And by buying this power, we're giving our customers the choice to choose where they get. If their annual usage is 3,000 kilowatts, then they can break that down and they can say, I want to have 2,000 kilowatts from my nearest wind farm. Okay, and so we're giving them the option of doing that. And if the demand becomes greater and we don't have any more hydro or wind or solar to give out, then we'll find further power purchase agreements to make sure we can supply our customers. We listen to our customers, that's the difference. We actually take on board we're the only organisation out there, Mid-Counties Cooperative, where you can go to an annual AGM and you can have the group general manager of cooperative energy sitting on a chair on the stage, and our customers can ask them any questions they want. Now they might not get the answers that they want, but they will get answers, and they will get a real face they can speak to, not just a letter sent through with a signature of the group general manager that's been printed.
Are there different energy companies who offer energy in this way, like where we can choose different energy sources?
We are the first to actually do the user chooser. We're the first energy company to do that, and our group general manager came up with that idea. And the reason why he wanted to launch it so quickly, because he was worried that there was rumours that some of the other energy suppliers were going to do exactly the same thing. But we wanted to prove it was our idea. It came out. This is what we did, and
so there's somebody that's done it now.
I believe that a company called OVO were looking at doing it. Whether they've done it or not, I don't know. But there's still to this day, I believe we're the only one that still does the user chooser option. So this is what we're trying to actually promote: is a cleaner, better environment. We have a lot of companies. There's companies out there called like Good Energy and Green Energy as well, and Ecotricity, and they all source like renewable energy. When we first started, because we were very small, we started off and we were actually we were selling, getting all of our electricity from renewable sources, so 100%. It's that perception that people have, the general public have, is that if they're not getting it from a coal mine or not getting it from a nuclear power station, they're getting cleaner energy and they're actually helping the environment. So that it's their own perception more than anything. There's not a difference in the energy, because what happens, and this is where it gets a bit of a sticky point for people that really believe in green energy. If any company, any energy supplier, worldwide this is, if you said to me, I want all my electricity to come from renewable sources and we can do the user chooser option, that's great. Then if someone says, oh, I'm not so bothered about it, that's fine. You know, you might have 10 houses in a row, and none of them would get renewable energy. Because what happens, the renewable energy, the nuclear energy, all goes into one pot, the national grid, what we have, and then it then goes off in the networks. So in the little the transition networks, it goes, all this electricity goes off. You might have 10 houses, all with British Gas, E.ON, Co-op Energy, N-Power, but they'll only get a small percentage of renewable energy. So they don't actually get to choose, I want 100% renewable energy coming to my home, unless they're very rich and they've had a cable made from a solar panel that goes to their actual house. That's the only physical way that would be able to do it, and it would just be too expensive and for the customer, because they would have to pay for that. You know, it's.
So when they do the user chooser and say that I, for example, want 100% renewable energy.
Correct. Yeah.
What impact does that have then with them saying that that's what they want?
What we're saying is that how we're generating because I personally picked this up with when we were saying, when you choose where you buy your energy from, where choose where you buy your energy from came from because our customers own cooperative energy, so that's why they're saying your.
It isn't actually their house.
Exactly. We've had that a couple of times actually. People, well, not a couple of times, a few times. People say, a number of times. People saying it's not actually, but it is. It's just the technicalities of the wording, what they're using, because it's your business. And you can choose where we source our energy, where you source your energy from, because it's your business.
I see what you mean, yeah.
Yeah. And it's that whole thing being a co-op again, so that's why we were able to get away with using that wording. It wasn't meant to catch people out, it's just the fact is we wanted people to realise they own a business, they can tell us where they get their energy from, tell us where we get our energy from. So like I said, if we do run out and we haven't got enough solars going around, we'll go and purchase. We'll go and find other purchase agreements and we'll buy more solar energy.
She would like to know from these customers, designer, how much percentage of customers become actually members of co-op?
A very high percentage. The ones we directly sign up, the ones that call in and speak to us on the phone, the one that speaks to us on the phone, you're talking, it's very high, like 95%. 95% people, when they understand that it's not going to cost them anything.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? And they're going to get points for it. They understand that. The problem why that percentage has come down is around about 82%, is because we went on switching sites. And when you go on switching sites, people sign up online. They don't necessarily get the option of being asked for Mid-Counties membership. And then the other problem we have, if they phone into these switching sites to switch over to the best deal, the switching sites, people that they've trained up, saying, well, that's a fantastic tariff, because it's at the top of our switching site. Yes, that's a great tariff. Yes, we can switch you over to that. We're just acting as a third party in between Co-op Energy and the,
What is switching?
So, for example, you would have, there's a company called USwitch.
Yeah.
And what they do, you might have on the website they have home insurance, car insurance. They would have credit cards, the best credit cards that are available, and gas and electricity. What they would do, you could then say, if you're interested, say in home insurance, they would bring up all the providers of home insurance and tell you who's got the best deal. And they even break it down because they customise it, so they have a load of tick boxes that you can tick saying, I want this, I want that, I want that, and then it'll bring up a whole list of which provider or which supplier is better for you, or which business is better for you. And then what happens? You press, I want this one. You either can switch over online, or you can phone through to their contact centres, where you will speak to them and they'll tell you about all the terms and conditions, all about the deal, and they'll switch you over on the phone. But because they're a third party and they don't know about all the co-op's values, we have to physically go in and train them up to say you must be pushing about the Mid-Counties membership, you must ask them about this, because at the start they weren't. And that's why our figures are really round about the 82-83% mark, not close to the 95-96%.
Also, she would like to know the capital start this business is the money actually coming out from the Mid-County Co-op Group, isn't it? When you start this Co-op Energy company.
When we started
first the capital to start this business, where that first the money comes from?
Yeah, the money came from Mid-Counties, so the profits Mid-Counties made. This is a great thing, and this is why people believe in us, because when mid-counties first when cooperative energy first started, mid-counties did plough a lot of money. They did put a lot of money into to get this business up and running for us. You're probably talking along the millions, but it was in their profits. You know, we try to minimise the amount of bank loans we take out, but we are a the largest independent cooperative in the UK, and we make the most profit. Now, cooperative group. I don't know if they know too much about cooperative group, but
a little bit about it before.
Yeah. So they're struggling at the moment, and we used to believe that they were very profitable, but now that's become to light that that's not so much the case. They're not that profitable, and they're making a loss rather than making a gain.
Would you say Middlecounty is the most?
I would say, I'd definitely say we're the most profitable cooperative now, since what's come to light with Co-op Group, definitely, yeah. And the thing is, because we had those profits, yes, we gave our shares to our customers. The great thing is, when we're at the AGMs, our board will say, this is what we propose. We propose to put, you know, this is what we're going to pay for each share point. If our members don't agree with that, they can oppose it. They can say, no, we don't agree with that. And if there's enough people in the room that oppose it, they can argue it, and it will go back to the board for a readjustment, you know. And so they can ask them what they want. But I've been to the last 3 now, and it hasn't happened. Everyone's been happy with what we've suggested. But the fact is, when the money's there, we're making a profit, they plough it into the business to make it, and that's what's great about being we are a profitable organisation, but we're not in it just to make the money and then give the money off to shareholders. So we're not that sort of company. We're there to actually keep developing what we got and keep progressing what we got, and they like to develop within. So they like to, if someone starts out in the contact centre, they like to try and really develop their skill set and their training abilities, and I really push them to actually become the best of their ability. Remember what I was talking to you earlier about community energy and the power purchase agreements? So Forest of Dean, it's Great Dung Kilns, that's the name of one of the community energy projects. Now, if you lived in that community, you can invest in a share in that wind turbine. You can invest as minimum as £5 into that share. That's only a minimum there. You can put in as much as you like. Okay. So then, when that was up and running and it's generating energy, and they sell it off to an energy supplier, because you put that £5 in, you might get a return of £20 back from that, depending on what the energy supplier. So it's showing that you're the shareholder, so you get the money back from your community energy scheme. And this is why we're promoting it so much, because it is something that you can do to promote, you know, and actually benefit more from it, really. So we're currently got 8 live at the moment. We're going to be going up to 12 very soon. I believe we're actually already there to be. So this is coming towards the end of the presentation now. So just because we're an energy supplier, it doesn't mean that we don't fit in with the rest of what mid-counties cooperatives do. If not so, we try to get more involved with the community, as you can see on the community energy projects. We offer community support, we do voluntary hours. Did Sue touch upon the voluntary?
Yeah, she mentioned that, yeah.
So I won't go too much into it, but we do exactly the same at Energy. But what we do, we act as ambassadors. So we go around to, say, schools, different community groups, and we actually tell them, we give them energy saving advice. We tell them how we do interaction exercises with them to understand how they, by getting involved with community energy, how they can benefit from it. If we go into schools, we might get the children to make windmills. And, you know, and then we give them a bit of background information on what a wind turbine is. So it's really quite clever. We do like a technology projects where we build like an energy saving house. So we try and get involved, and we don't mind going around doing a bit of decorating, a bit of lawn mowing and painting, you know. But this year in particular, we believe that anyone can do a bit of lawn mowing, painting, decorating. Let's use our skill sets to actually benefit the community. So we're actually the hours we're doing this year, the majority of the hours are going to be. So we go around acting as ambassadors to our local communities and actually giving them energy saving advice. And we're not looking to get any business from this. This is the great thing. great, if they want to sign up afterwards, that's fine. We're not there to sign them up to cooperative energy there and then. We're there to give them energy saving advice. We're there to give, for example, we've got a scheme where we're going to work with the vulnerable, so elderly, and so where they're, you know, maybe where they get a lot of cold phone calls, door knockers, people knocking at their doors trying to sell them things. We're going around there to tell them, you don't need to get involved with it. Just, you know, we're going around to make them aware of these you know, the people that come around, the cold callers. You know, we're there to give them the support that they need, and it's just little things like that where we're giving them the advice they need. So if they're looking, what should they be looking for on their energy bill? Making sure they understand their energy bill, because they can be quite confusing. If they understand their energy bill and they don't get confused, then, you know, we know we've done our job. You know, if they're able, you know, at an age when they're living by themselves, to be able to look after themselves, that's, you know. And we're going to do a lot of things like coffee mornings. We're going to go to lots of church, you know, mornings, church coffee mornings as well. Book clubs. We're going to go in there and we're going to offer this advice to them. It's not normally where you expect to find an energy supplier either. So this is why we will stand out in the market, because we're going to do things not for a personal gain to get people signed on and bring profit into us. We're actually doing something to benefit the community. Okay, we should talk about the awards that we've won. Okay, so for the 4th year running, we've been announced Mid-Counties Property as a whole top 25 best big companies to work for.
Sunday Times. You didn't say which ones I like it over.
So Sunday Times. So we went from, it's a well-respected newspaper in the UK. This one is the Sunday Times, compared to some of them out there. But basically, we started off at number 24. Then we came down to number 22. Then I think we went down to 14. Then it went down to, we haven't broken into the top 10 yet. I think we got to number 10, but we haven't broken into the 1 to 9. So, but we're not entering it this year. We're taking a year out because we're taking a year. The reason why is because we believe we're strong at the moment, and we want to make sure we want to consolidate. We want to consolidate what we've got at the moment to make sure we've got it right, so that we can take it to the next level. Because it doesn't matter, you can be in it for 4 years running, doesn't mean that you're perfect by any means. We're not number 1, we haven't been number 1 for 4 years. What we don't want to do, we are the only energy supplier in there at the moment, but what we don't want to do is, there's been a lot of businesses that were first or second for a good couple of years, and then all of a sudden, they've dropped out of it altogether. They're not in the top 25 anymore. They're not in the top 50 anymore. So you then beg to think what's happened there. But what we're going to do, we're going to consolidate for a year, and then when we re-enter the following year, hopefully we will aim for the top 10 that time round. We're also Sunday Times giving something back award. So what I was talking about, the community voluntary hours. That's we got notice for that. Just by someone, because it's easy for people to notice inside the cooperative movement, so not just mid-counties, but people in the whole group, West Midlands Cooperative, all the different co-ops out there. But for other people to actually notice what we're actually giving back to the community, that's a really big award for us. That's just as big as this award here. So, and fair tax accreditation, making sure that we're paying our taxes, and we're, and people know we're paying our taxes, and they're not going into an offshore account. So that's what it's important, that people know that we're paying our taxes. And it's a British-based company. We do get a lot of people saying, well, where's because Scottish Power, their head office is in Spain. E.ON, their head office is in Germany. So Empower's in France. So, which is fine, it's not a problem, but it's always nice. There's a lot of people, and you can go anywhere in the world, and people like to know if something's homegrown. They like to support that because it's supporting where you live, it's supporting your economy. So. Okay, so the final slide is about our charity support. So, did Sue talk about Teenage Cancer Trust at all? Okay, Teenage Cancer Trust is our charity partner. Okay, Mid-Counties as a whole. And in 2013, we got a 2-year partnership with them. We raised 273,000. From them, which is fantastic. We do have 10,000 employees, but they're a mixture of part-time, full-time, and basically this is all over food in our food stores. We go out and do fun runs, half marathons. I did a skydive last year, which was brilliant. You know, so
that's not from profit, you see. That's from your fundraising activity.
So this is separate to our voluntary hours, separate to our profits. We actually generated this money for our for Teenage Cancer Trust. We're already. I think we're nearly at the 500,000 mark already this year, and we've still got 5 months to go. So our partnership's coming to an end with them at the end of January. But then what we're doing then in next year, we're going to be doing local community charities. So the communities where our head offices are based in, because we're national co-op energy, things like childcare and travel. Where their offices are based, they're going to be able to have a local charity that they can support. So therefore it's a bit more in touch with the local community. It's not saying we won't support people like Teenage Cancer Trust because they're a national charity, whereas because we're energy and we don't necessarily have different offices, you know, all around, we can actually probably choose to, we'll probably get to choose to have a national partner next year, which is good. But yes, I mean, to put it into context, I'm the chairperson for the Teenage Cancer Trust Committee for Energy. So I sit on there, I coordinate all the activities that we do, you know, sort all the banking out, making sure everything's all sorted for Energy. Same with the voluntary hours. I sit on the steering group for that as well, for the community hours. So this is a great thing about working for the counties, is that they have all these steering groups set up to make sure that you can carry out your voluntary hours, your charity work. And also, did Sue talk about the diversity at all?
Not much.
No, I'll put it in a nutshell for you. Basically, diversity, we get together twice a year, we all have a big meeting, a load of the mid-counties representatives from all over, not just energy, there's food, travel, pharmacy, funeral. We all come into one room and we split off into our 4 groups, which are for age, race, disability and gender, and we discuss issues that are current. What we need to put in place in our workplaces, how we can benefit our customers, you know, in these 4 areas as well. And
age, disability, gender, and
age, race, race. That's correct. So we discuss all these issues, and it's fantastic. You know, getting everyone's ideas and everyone bouncing off one another. It's really good, and you know, and I also sit on the one of those groups as well. So it's brilliant that the involvement that mid-counties allow you to have and allow you to get involved with what matters to being part of a cooperative. Brilliant. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.